a lot of great action between the boxing on ESPN, the Top Ranked Boxing, of course, UFC on ESPN Plus. Let us start with the man of the hour, the one and only Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, knocking out Curtis Blaydes, vicious uppercut in the second round, makes a little history as well, ties Vitor Belfort for the most knockouts / TKOs in UFC history, 12 for the Black Beast. You know, the storyline going into this fight was all about, what does Curtis Blaydes do if he wins, right? Does he wait for the title shot? Does he try to fight a John Jones? Does he fight someone else in the interim, a Cyril Gainer or Jairzinho Rozenstruik? Well, here's Derrick Lewis, who does not mince any words as far as his feelings towards Curtis Blaydes are concerned, knocking him out, hits him with the DX chop a couple of times, hits him with a few extra shots. Are you surprised that he did this to the blazing hot, or at least previously blazing hot, Curtis Razor Blaydes?
Could I be honest with you?
Please.
The odds for that fight to me felt right. Derek was
really?
Like plus 300 or something, right?
350. By the way, thank you for noting that. Biggest main event UFC upset since Bisping Rockhold in 2016.
Oh,
I was blown away. That's not fair to Derrick Lewis.
No. Well, here's the thing though, right? It's fair because the last time you saw Derrick with a predominantly wrestling fighter, he wasn't able to do very well. So you envisioned that it would look the same. Curtis Blaydes, being the type of wrestler that he is with the pace and the pressure, would just continue to ground Derrick until maybe he found the submission or got a finish. But the reality is, this is not the same Derrick Lewis from back in the day. This guy has shown improved takedown defense on multiple occasions, because this isn't the first time that he's wrestled better. He wrestled better against Oleinik, right? Didn't he fight Oleinik?
Mm-hmm.
He wrestled. Yeah, he beat him. Oleinik was trying to take him down, couldn't get Derrick down. Blaydes tried on a few occasions, couldn't get Derrick down. And even when he got to a single leg, right? With a guy like Derrick Lewis, a big guy like that, you want to grab one leg. You don't want to grab two. They're too strong in the hips. You grab one, you start trying to move them and hope that they fall down. Curtis grabbed one leg. Derrick was able to keep his balance, stay upright, and show that this dude is improving, but not only improving, he's improving very fast. And if you have to stand with Derrick Lewis, you're in a ton of trouble. And man, did he sleep Curtis Blaydes. And that uppercut, to throw that uppercut, right, kind of backing up as Curtis is entering is impressive. But the timing and to see it, right, because you can drill stuff all day in practice, right? You can drill, when he shoots, we're going to throw this. When he shoots, we're going to throw this. You could drill that to as many times as you want. But when you're in there, everything is moving so much faster than you just hitting the pad. He landed that shot, and it was a thing of beauty. I mean, I missed it. I was like, wow, he dropped him. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he said he was looking for the knee or he was looking for the uppercut. He got the uppercut. You know, Michael Bisping said something in the first round where he was talking to Rashad. It was kind of funny because he's like, oh, sorry for talking about our personal conversation on air. But he did say that Curtis, at least in terms of Rashad's point of view, Curtis, his takedown's a little sloppy, as he put it. Do you agree with that? Like, was there something that Curtis could have done differently to avoid that?
So, speaking from experience now, right? Because I fought Derrick.
Yeah.
You got to make him back up, right? You make him back up, and then you try to get his hands up. Because even when Curtis was going off on Derrick, you saw Derrick bring that high guard up, right? He brings up the high guard to make sure you don't hit him because he doesn't necessarily like to get hit. When the high guard goes up, that's when you drop down and grab a leg. Curtis wasn't doing that. When he did get Derrick to react with the hands high, he didn't shoot. He was too comfortable in the striking. He was either trying to wrestle Derrick or he was trying to strike with Derrick. He was never doing them both at the same time. You can't do that in today's mixed martial arts. You got to be mixing everything up. And Curtis just did not set up those shots. And then it seemed like when he was ready to go, he just was going to take a shot from the outside. And Derrick Lewis is phenomenal.
I want to give you props here because, as you mentioned, you fought Derrick Lewis, first and only UFC heavyweight title fight to happen inside the world's most famous arena, home to the blazing hot New York Knickerbockers back at UFC 230. And I feel like the way in which you beat Derrick Lewis and the relative, I know it wasn't easy, but the relative ease in which you defeated him, at least to the casual viewer back home, is something that comes up every time Derrick Lewis fights a wrestler. People say, well, look what DC did to him. Like, your win over him continues to age more and more impressively. It's a beautiful thing to watch that. Why did you have so much success against him, and why do these other grapplers not have this kind of success against him?
It's not the same type of wrestling, right? Like you can't just take him down. I think the first takedown was a high crotch, and I was able to dump him, right? Just move him and dump him. The last one was an ankle pick off of a front headlock, right? So it's not like I was just grabbing his leg. I was literally just wrestling Derrick Lewis because I understood that if I was going to beat him, I needed to just wrestle for 3 weeks because I didn't have much of a camp. So for 3 weeks, I wrestled and I wrestled and I wrestled, and I was able to make him back up because he was aware of the takedowns, and I just kind of threw hands at him a little bit, and I just kind of snagged at his leg. Listen, man, people don't necessarily like giving me credit for all the things that I did, but there was just it was
Puff your
the way
chest
I
out,
fought
bro.
was
Come
very
on,
difficult.
let's hear it.
The way I fought was very difficult to deal with for most people, and especially when I was good, when I was healthy, when I was I was 30, I was still younger, I was having that great year in 2018. The momentum was rolling, so I still could fight to my potential back then. Late in my career, I couldn't really fight to the same potential. So it was a tough fight, but I was able to wrestle for a month to prepare to wrestle Derrick Lewis, and he just wasn't necessarily ready for that style of fight.
By the way, I don't want to be biased here, but like, geez, Louise, you're talking about this fight like it happened 10 years ago. It happened just like 3 years ago. You just went 25 minutes with the heavyweight champion of the world. Like, let's.
Yeah,
Is
but
that okay? You and your
the
feelings?
reality
What's
is like
happening here?
that guy in August, like that wasn't the guy like from back then. Not even from 2018. I wasn't the same guy. Like age gets you, man. Age, injuries, all that stuff, it gets you. COVID, everything gets you. And then fighting Stipe Miocic, who's the best heavyweight of all time. Things get to you, So, and I can recognize that. I wasn't the same fighter in the last couple of fights that I was prior. But Derrick Lewis, back to Derrick. He continues to impress, and I believe that if this dude continues to show marked improvement in the wrestling, he could fight anyone. For a guy that has to stand with him, they're in trouble. And I saw something the other day. It was on my Twitter, and I said Derrick Lewis has the most power ever. And somebody goes, Francis 1, Derrick 2, right? Everybody started going, Francis. People, there is a reason Francis Ngannou was so tentative in the fight against Derrick Lewis. It's the only time he's ever fought like that. Francis just bull rushes everybody from Stipe Miocic to Alistair Overeem. Almost a blatant disregard for them and their power. He stood and took pictures with Derrick Lewis because of the power coming back in his direction. So let's not go acting as if Derrick Lewis doesn't have power to match anyone in the heavyweight division, even Francis Ngannou. And when you talk about knockouts, nobody has more than Derrick. So how do you say that another guy has more power than him? And that's not a knock on Francis. It's just reality.
Okay, let me ask someone who has felt the power. What is it like to get punched by Derrick Lewis? Like,
it's awful. It's not even just his punches. It's everything from the kicks. Derrick did a jumping kick, and he kicked my arm. I had knots in my arm for days afterwards. I had his leg up in the air, and he hammer fisted me. I had a black eye for 2 days. Like, it doesn't take much from this guy to hurt you, and he hits you in the moment. It's stunning, right? It's like there are guys in my career that I fought that have just natural power. Dan Henderson, when he hit you, was like it was every time it just kind of like stopped. Derrick Lewis was another guy, just hit extremely hard. The power is real, man, and it's on display every time he goes in the octagon.